Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Before and Afterthought with your show, as always, Queen Krazy K. Be sure, as well as you're watching these videos, I notice a lot of you guys are watching my videos but not subscribing. So be sure as you're watching my videos to also subscribe, like, comment, all that good stuff. At least subscribe to support my channel. Follow me on Instagram to get the updates and all that good stuff to continue doing these videos for you guys that I enjoy doing so much. With that being said, usually I do a podcast that'll be a half an hour long to cover everything that's happened within the week. But this podcast will be at least an hour and a half to cover what's been going on in the last 3 weeks. It's called Raw versus SmackDown. Cover everything you need to know, including this past SummerSlam that happened as well, and all that good stuff that you need to know. If it's longer, great. So, with that being said, as you can see, I got my Rey Mysterio shirt on. As 20 years of Rey Mysterio since he been debuted into the WWE. I'm gonna go ahead and show you my few videos right now, and then we'll talk about what's going on. So this video is what my Raw prediction videos like. When you guys follow me on Instagram, the updates and stuff that I'm talking about will look like videos like this, like my Raw prediction video. Queen Krazy K, you already know. Follow me on that Instagram. Subscribe to my channel, Queen Krazy K. Before and after thoughts immediately following after Monday Night Raw tonight. Tell you all the facts and everything you need to know. And more as we are a week from SummerSlam tonight, celebrating 20 years of one of my favorite WWE superstars, Rey Mysterio. Check out on YouTube my 20 years Rey Mysterio video. And then also celebrating that tonight, Monday Night Raw, Logan Paul. I think he's gonna beat the hell out of this just like he did last night and show him that he can do his show better than him on the Logan Paul show tonight at Monday Night Raw. Not Raw with champion EST. Bianca Belair is not gonna take any more shenanigans with Becky Lynch, so she better watch herself and she tries her game. I think that Bianca Belair will make Raw with the champion against Becky Lynch at SummerSlam just to feel better as a champion and for herself. To redeem what happened last SummerSlam. Even though she beat Becky Lynch in 12 seconds, but to feel better, she has to beat her at SummerSlam for her fate. And then after that, the Judgment Day is going to get what they deserve by the Mysterios as they are Hall of Famer legendaries. Rey Mysterio's not in 20 years. And all that good stuff tonight. So these are my, and the big dog travel team, Roman Reigns will win with the Usos as they tag team match and prove to the beast and the Roman Reigns travel team, undefeated Universal Champion, will remain in that SummerSlam, and I think he's gonna win the six-man tag team match with the Usos to prove like what Brock Lesnar all the beast released on Raw, what he can do. Now this is Tribal Chief, what he can do on Monday Night Raw with the six-man tag match, and put Theory in his place for running his mouth to show that he does not like the between those two gladiators for Universal Champion belt. And those are my predictions for tonight for Monday Night Raw Wrestling. You can check out these predictions on YouTube right now. I'm putting it out right now. Make sure you follow and subscribe. And also check out my 20 year celebrating Rey Mysterio's birthday. Or, well, it is his birthday because it's his birthday in WWE since he debuted in WWE. And then after that's all said and done, then I will have my before and after thoughts as well after my night raw. Krazy K out. So that is what those type of videos that I'm talking about the updates. So you can go ahead when you follow me on Instagram, you'll see updates like that, my Raw predictions and things like that before the actual show and stuff happens. So you can be on the lookout and stuff. And then I'm gonna talk about the last few weeks first, and then I'll show you my 20 years Rey Mysterio video. So this is 3 weeks ago on Monday Night Raw we're talking about. when Dolph Ziggler returned, when she would have thought that Dolph Ziggler was going to be targeted and gone after Bobby Lashley. Because the last time we seen Dolph Ziggler, he was on stage in an interview and had beef with Bobby Lashley and MPV. So you would think he was coming back to target him. Instead, Dolph Ziggler sits out there, outside the ring. Dolph Ziggler just sitting there just like the WWE Universe, watching the match, front row seat, giving his inputs, not even saying anything. Sitting there like the WWE Universe, like the commentary, not doing saying anything, and then all of a sudden, Theory tries to cheat the match, so Dolph Ziggler did the right thing. The almighty Bobby Lashley, three-time United States champion, third generation in my opinion for Matt Riddle, since all he's learned from the Hall of Famer legendary 14-time World Heavyweight Champion Randy Orton. Him and Bobby Lashley pick up the victory over the Architect, Seth Rollins, and his partner, Mr. Money in the Bank Theory, in a tag team action. And then Dolph Ziggler kicks Theory right in the face after the match was over, targeting him specifically, not only doing the right thing for the match, but was targeting Theory specifically. Kicking right in the challenge before the Monday Night Raw show ended. So that was a little bit shocking that people like, I thought you'd go out there Bobby Lashley or something, because that's the guy that you had issues with before you left. Now you come back and target on Mr. Money in the Bank. Like I said, Theory's got more targets on his back than the WWE Champion does. He's got that incident with Dolph Ziggler, not only losing the tag team match, he also got targeted by Dolph Ziggler after he got beat up by Bobby Lashley, United States Champion, with the Money in the Bank after Money in the Bank. And then the rest of the Money in the and then turn around and loses a match against Madcap Moss on SmackDown, trying to take the easy way out, gets destroyed by him. Bobby Lashley already won the nicest championship against him. So then he tries to jump the gun, talk about Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns become the Universal Champion, all this crap at SummerSlam. Next thing you know, Brock Lesnar F5s him and tosses him around like yesterday guards both times on SmackDown, and Roman Reigns and the Usos kicking right in the chop after he lost his match against Drew McIntyre. So Theory, with running his mouth at Mr. Money in the Bank, gets more targets on his back than the WWE Champion does. Like I said, and that proves it. And well, if you run your mouth, you better be able to back it up against anybody. So anyways, with that being said, Bobby Lashley and Matt Riddle won that tag team action, and Dolph Target Theory specifically. And then that happened in the main event last match. I'm just going about how what I'm going to talk about is still like that made my point why Theory was and is a bigger target as Money in the Bank than if he were champion. So I just wanted to point that out. And coming back from Welcome Back Dolph Ziggler to Monday Night Raw, and that surprise. Just wanted to put that out there. Then we had, and also on Monday Night Raw, then we had our Raw Women's Champion Bianca Belair get screwed because of Becky Lynch getting involved. Big time Bex got involved and caused Becky Lynch got involved though, because she was watching Bianca in that match the whole time before she did that. Our Raw Women's Champion Bianca Belair got the last laugh though over Carmella after that whole situation. So sitting her on her face, almost in the front row. See, that's how high she threw her. Nah, she just threw her out on the floor in front of the announcement table just to teach her you can get a cheap shot of EST at WWE and get away with it, and she didn't. Carmella is a former Miss Money in the Bank, SmackDown Women's Champion, Raw two-time Miss Money in the Bank, two-time SmackDown Women's Champion, Raw Women's Champion, Tag Team Women's Champion. So Carmella is money in the WWE, but you not got that win without big time Bex doing it for the EST, reminding you of that, sitting you on your face. And then also in that match earlier was Alexa Bliss. Now it's good to see former Miss Money in the Bank, former Raw Women's Champion, former SmackDown Women's Champion, the goddess Alexa Bliss. It was good to see her pick up that victory over Nikki H. Cross. Someone who was not only your tag team partner, but your tag team women's champions with her. She was your best friend. They were running SmackDown together and doing all these things. And then for Alexa Bliss to defeat her with Asuka by her side in a tag team match to make up for that no-holds-barred match, losing against Becky Lynch, winning against Doudrop, was really cool to see them both come back from that and really show that emotions didn't get in the way, and that she's also a former Miss Money in the Bank, Raw Women's Champion, Empress of Tomorrow, undefeated for 2 years. So that don't forget who they are around here, and emotions won't tear them down. As you saw the outcome, it only pushed them further to win the match. And then they had the Mysterios. Now, to me, that was a big win for Finn Balor, pick up a victory over Hall of Famer legendary like Rey Mysterio. But him and Dominic pretty much got revenge on the Judgment Day before the match started for being a couple of sore losers, attacking them just because they lost the match the week before backstage, though. So me, they're pretty much even at that time. And then also early in the match, then you had Seth Rollins targeting Matt Riddle, burning it down with a big old stomp on him, targeting him now that American Nightmare is injured and was getting surgery, and seen him in an interview not too long ago, but on Monday Night Raw that they showed, but he doesn't know when he's going to be able to come back and WWE medically cleared. So Seth Rollins went after Matt Riddle and gave him a stomp inside the ring instead. And then you had, trying to think if I missed anything. Well, then we also had AJ Styles in the Miz situation. It was the Miz attacking AJ Styles. At first AJ Styles had the Miz, but the Miz turned things around with Tommaso coming out. So the Miz and Tommaso attacked AJ Styles from behind because he was getting his ass whooped. And then that started that feuding situation since the Miz TV show when he tried to embarrass AJ Styles and AJ Styles wasn't taking his crap. So, and the Miz TV, he is a great, whether you like him or don't, he has a great accomplishments in the WWE. Intercontinental Champion, WWE Champion, two-time Mr. Money in the Bank, has his own Miz TV show on Monday Night Raw, and has his TV show right after Monday Night Raw on the USA Network with Miz and Maurice. That's the top #1 show on the USA Network with the wrestling. So, he's an actor and a wrestler. Whether you love him or hate him, he's been tag team champions. So, he's got it all. He's got a talent to be able to go act and then be dominant in the WWE ring. Then AJ Styles, a former WWE champion, former tag team champions, NXT champion, one of the most dominated team that he was on, a part of him and Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson as the Bullet Club, running around the world destroying people and cracking skulls against anybody, anything, as being so dominant. So they both got the talent and what it takes to be able to go in there and talk the talk and be able to back it up. So I will give them that. But anyway, that started that feud in that situation. Tommaso, he's a two-time NXT champion. I don't know why they keep having him attack people from behind instead of just putting him in an official match or just coming out in general if he's gonna. Because it seems like he wants to be a part of the Miz crew. So it seems like it's the Miz and Tommaso versus anybody. So why don't he just come out like how Finn Balor and Damian Priest come out together as the Judgment Day? Why Tommaso come out with the Miz and call themselves a team just right off the bat? Because that seems like that's what that's forming there. Those two together. So, anyways, that'd be that situation. And then you had the Usos and the Street Profits. It was Omos and the Usos were on SmackDown Tag Team Champions, the ones. And then the Skyscraper Omos teaming up, winning a 6-man tag team match against the Street Profits, former Raw Tag Team Champions, who want the smoke when they get in that ring, high fly, classic skills that they always put on the line. Then it was our truth that I thought, because it fits his description to be the special guest referee at their match at SummerSlam, because our truth is like, he has skills in the ring, but he's more of a goofy guy. Like, he goes in there when he's dancing with Carmella, 24 champion, comes up there always has something funny to say or do, and so he just seems like that character that would be the special guest referee for the match, but that was not the case in that situation. Like I personally thought, I know I'm not the only one that thought that. So, anyways, that would be 3 weeks ago. My opinions and thoughts on Monday Night Raw as far as that went. And then that would take us to the bump where we had our NXT champion Brian Baker, which is a machine across the ring that you don't want to be in with and run you over like a football player. And Mandy Rose, the NXT Women's Champion, she said she wouldn't mind coming back to Raw or SmackDown, but she enjoys NXT, but she wouldn't mind doing that. So I personally would love to see Mandy Rose with the women's roster back on SmackDown and perhaps get a SmackDown Championship opportunity to be SmackDown Women's Champion. And then that would bring us the Hall of Famer, the legendary, former, he's won the Royal Rumble, he's won WWE Champion, he's won Tag Team Champions, he's been in there with legends like The Undertaker, he's been in there with great superstars like John Cena, Randy Orton, he's done it all. The Game Triple H, his best friend in the ring, and was running NXT over there for a little bit since he retired. He knows he's a classic wrestler and still today can go in there and put a strict theme music right in somebody's chops, kick him square in the face. The one and only who's on my shirt with Stone Cold Steve Austin at WrestleMania that I wore on one of my podcasts that you can go back and see the shirt. Shawn Michaels was on that shirt with Stone Cold Steve Austin. I'm talking about the one and only Shawn Michaels, Heartbreak Kid. It was awesome to see him go on there and talk and chop it up. And, he just sat down and, was just talking about his career a little bit and just gathering what you're doing now today. And, since then, you got like Goldberg, Hall of Famer legendary since his wrestling career. I seen him on NCSI TV show now, and you got Hall of Fame legend like Stone Cold Steve Austin, who since his wrestling career, he's got his own Broken Skull show, and then you have like John Cena, Hall of Famer legend. Well, he's not Hall of Famer yet, but he's a legendary in the WWE. He's over in the acting side, like with like The Rock that you see. I've seen Batista in some movies as well. So it's like, and Triple H is running NXT now. Now since the retirement of Mr. McMahon, we got Triple H running Raw and SmackDown now as the CEO again, and he's doing a hell of a job, and he's doing it way better. In my opinion, Triple H is way better at running Raw and SmackDown in the WWE than Mr. McMahon. I just like the game Triple H, so of course I'm gonna say, but he is doing a great job. Made me satisfied since he took control. So, um, with that being said, that would bring us to SmackDown when Stephanie McMahon announced it. And then we also seen Intercontinental Champion Gunther was also on Out of the Character. Like he's a machine in the ring, but day-to-day still him being as well. I saw him on Out of the Character a little bit. Didn't know him outside of that dominating Intercontinental Champion on SmackDown. And then on Friday Night SmackDown Wrestling, that brings us to where the New Day and the Viking Raiders. Now the Viking Raiders sort of retreated and didn't expect the New Day to come out there and not only mock them and get the best of them, but they had Jinder Mahal and Shanky also who they attacked and kind of made the Viking Raiders rethink about what they're going to do and retreat from the ring, and they did not see that coming and went ahead backstage. And then they had Liv Morgan, our SmackDown Women's Champion, former, she's Miss Money in the Bank, SmackDown Women's Champion, outside of Absolution, outside of the Wyatt Squad. She is more than just a pretty face. She has the heart, the talent, and the athleticism in the ring, and people need to respect her a lot more than trying to look over her, and that she can be so much by herself than without a team. She's already proven that in such a little time that she's had. So I like that Liv Morgan sticking up for herself and beating Natalia specifically Best there ever is, best there ever was, best there ever be. She's a third generation. She's already a Hall of Famer and a legendary. She's been in the ring, former women's champion in the ring with Beth Phoenix, a Hall of Famer legendary. That you have to go through Natalia in order to be a part of the women's division. You have to go through Natalia to call yourself a champion. Everyone knows that. So for Liv Morgan to beat Natalia in a singles action to prove to her I can take credit for my own work, thank you, is really showing why she is the SmackDown Women's Champion, and people need to respect that a lot more than what they try to do. And then that would bring us on that was somehow like Gunther on out of character. Intercontinental Champion did not appreciate his protege slapping him across the chest as he came up short against Shinsuke Nakamura, the artist, former NXT champion, former Intercontinental champion, former United States champion. He is the artist of smacking it down, and that is why he picked up the victory. Are you shocked? Because I'm not. Picked up that victory over him. Pow, right in the head there. Good night. Gunther obviously will not have anybody represent him like that. Slapped him across the chest, and well, that was the interview. Getting a little lesson about there's no losers. Anyways, and then you had with Lacey Evans and Aaliyah. Lacey Evans says she's not getting enough respect from the WWE Universe, and that's why she turned heel. But to me, just because you've done great things in your life doesn't mean you're a great person now and can treat anybody the way that you think you're going to treat them. So, you want respect, you got to give respect. You may have done great things in the past, but you're certainly not doing anything now except, demanding that you should be treated a certain way just because you've done this or that. Doesn't make you a great person just because you have done great things. And Lacey Evans punches Aaliyah square on the face instead of being her tag team partner, claiming that she wasn't getting enough respect from the WWE Universe. Whatever. And then you had the Street Powers and the Usos situation. It was the Usos now getting a taste of what the Street Powers. The Street Powers had their shoulders up. It was the referee that screwed the Street Powers at Money in the Bank. And now it was referee screwing the Usos, who clearly had their shoulder up, and that took the Usos and Street Powers to a brawling match. But now they get to see how each other feels. Now you see where they were coming from, why they were so upset about it. But at the end of the day, it's the referee's fault. Referees getting paid to do their job, they need to do their job the right way. And that would bring the Matt Casmas, like I was talking about the targets on Theory's back. Matt Casmas defeated Theory and took him out for trying to take the easy way out. He didn't want any part of the Usos, speaking of their name behind their back, but didn't want to do anything to their face. And then that would pretty much, they had Drew McIntyre's out there. Now this is the way where Drew McIntyre has defeated Olive in a match to show Sheamus, I'm ready for you in a match to get my Universal Championship opportunity at Clash of Castle. He won the Royal Rumble, former WWE Champion, former Universal Champion. I'm not sure if he won the Universe. I think it was just WWE Champion. But he's won the Royal Rumble, and then that's when he won Universal Championship belt against Brock Lesnar, and he also became WWE Champion as well, when he was being dominated with Bobby Lashley, and it was him and Bobby Lashley, and I believe Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode was out there too when they were beating everybody up. It wasn't the Hurt Business, but they're coming out there as a team to dominate. So Drew McIntyre wants his opportunity, so he beat Olive in that match, proving his point across. And that were to be, with that results, I think those are my opinions and thoughts on Friday Night SmackDown Wrestling. That is straightforward, straight across, and that's what I think about those situations and those superstars in Friday Night SmackDown Wrestling. So yeah, that's my opinions and point of view on SmackDown Live and stuff. So, and then that would bring us to we had a Saturday Live. Excuse me. We had a Saturday Live that it was. I seen Bobby Lashley defend his United States Championship belt. I seen Seth Rollins win a match. I seen this is what I'm talking about with Liv Morgan that she should get respected more. Now she beat Ronda Rousey and Natalia in a triple threat to remain SmackDown Women's Champion, all on her own. So that clears it up right there. That she deserves more respect than what people are trying to give her. And I've seen our Raw Women's Champion Bianca Belair. It was funny seeing her because she had one of her biggest fans that was there that was almost jumping in her lap over the barrier because she just couldn't believe Bianca was right there in her face, and it was so funny to see and so awesome to watch. It's like watching me, like I get so excited about wrestling and stuff, like when I do these podcasts or do my short videos, but when I'm there live and stuff, like that's how I get still now, and you know, and I'm not even a little kid. It's just exciting. It's awesome. It's amazing, and it's something that I've always loved, and it's something that I've always wanted to do, and put my head and my heart in it. So I can really be in that kid's shoes and feel it, especially when your favorite superstar is right in front of your face. I mean, then you don't know what to do or what to say, you know. So, anyways, it was funny seeing that and watching that. So, and then that would cover that week. Um, Everything that my opinions and thoughts on it and stuff. So then that brings us to now 2 weeks ago on Monday Night Raw Wrestling. Then we had now this time Dolph Ziggler had a right to do it because I'm sitting there watching the show like everybody else. I'm not bothering anybody, just getting a front row seat, maybe exurban. Maybe I'm taking notes. Maybe I'm just chilling. It's a public place. Anything can happen in the WWE. I have a right, just like everybody else does, to watch the match without you putting your hands on me. Theory took it up on himself, put his hands on Dolph, shoved him on the ground. So, of course, Dolph Ziggler bounced back up and kicked him right in the chop. I mean, Dolph Ziggler is a former Money in the Bank, too. Dolph Ziggler is a former WWE champion and a former Intercontinental champion. And he wasn't that guy that, oh, I got the hot looks and the hot body and I can dominate and the talent and the achievements, too. Dolph Ziggler already been there and done the things that Theory is trying to do. So you're not doing anything or saying anything that Dolph hasn't already done. So be damned if Dolph's gonna sit there and let you shove him on the ground, think that Dolph Ziggler is gonna kick you square in the face and give you what you deserve for putting your hands on him. I mean, it's kind of a little payback. Kind of like with the Usos and the Street Robbers. I mean, Usos is sitting there on commentary. Street Robbers attacked them, so of course the Usos got up and attacked the Street Robbers body and back and made a whole big old brawl fight over it. So it is what it is. Then that'll be our Raw. Speaking of our Raw Women's Champion, Bianca Belair, that I was just talking about a few minutes ago, walked it out Raw Women's Champion against Carmella, and even got her hands on Becky Lynch to let her know, I gotta stick your nose where it doesn't belong on my watch and get away with it, and try to attack me and get away with it, and put her in her place. And then the Mysterios and the Judgment Day, they've been going back and forth and all this and that, It was the Judgment Day is trying to end this Mysterio's career. Now, the best thing that the Mysterios did was get out of that situation at the time, stick by each other, stick together, don't let anybody manipulate you, get in the way of that. But they was able to get that situation, just save their career in that moment that they were going to do the same thing like they did to Edge when they kicked him out of the group. So it was just good that it was able to save themselves and just get out of the situation at the time, at the moment. And then that would be the rest of that Raw. It was, well, I was talking about with Alexa Bliss and Alexa teaming up. Now, Alexa Bliss picked up a singles action victory over Nikki Cross that I was talking about earlier, that how she didn't let her emotions get away, be like, yeah, we were best friends, we were tag team partners, we were this and that, but I'm not gonna let it get in my way. I beat you in a tag team match, and just so you can't give the credit to my partner, Alexa Bliss beat Nikki Cross specifically in a singles action match. So it was good to watch and see that. So and then the rest of my Raw, AJ Styles and Ezekiel came out there to have AJ Styles back and beat The Miz in a tag team match, and including Tommaso, who tried to attack him after the match was over. And then we had that's Omos picked up that victory over his opponent because of the Usos and the Street Profits too. That I was talking about. And then my admit on that is that that's the results. That's I'm satisfied with what happened and what went on, and those are my opinions and thoughts on the situations that went wrong or went right or whatever. What I think about it, and that would be your Monday Night Raw wrestling 2 weeks ago. What I think about it and how I proceed on it. So on the equation of what was going on in the conversation in the match and after the match and the results and further situations. So and that brings us to the bump that was on, at noon on Wednesday. I watch it on my lunch breaks. I watch the bump live on my lunch breaks and take notes, and I'm always in the comments and stuff, give my opinions and thoughts and everything. So that would be our Hall of Famers and our legendaries. Rey Mysterio, Hall of Famer legendary Rey Mysterio, was on the bump and getting respect from people like The Miz, who give him such a hard time in the ring, but respects him on outside of the ring, and like Kurt Angle, Olympic gold medalist with a broken neck. Kevin Owens, who's wearing his shirt, fanboying over him, like I wear him his shirt, fangirling over him. And then his son Dominic right there by his side, telling him his opinions and his thoughts. And for Dominic, that's a pretty cool experience. You got to be this little kid, not only growing up watching wrestling, but Hall of Famer, legendary, one of the greatest. Rey Mysterio is your father. You get to have that bond with your father and wrestle with him every night on Monday Night Raw. You got to grow up with these Hall of Famer legendaries as a kid physically, and now you get to wrestle against some of them and have your dad by your side to call Hall of Famer legendary and build your way into the Mysterio legacy. Fear the mask is what I keep saying. Fear the mask. So that's a cool experience to see that and to enjoy that. Awesome. That's incredible. Yeah, like I can imagine myself just being around the superstars. It makes you excited. It makes you feel that thrive. And I get to wrestle against them. I get to be a part of them. And got this experience as a kid, And one of the greatest is my father, and I'm wrestling in the ring with them. Like I don't know how you don't overwhelm yourself and when you come out of them curtains and be overexcited and over like I know you should be used to it now, but still that's a great impact and a great view when you look back at it. It makes you excited. It makes you like, what the hell is going on? This is awesome. This is amazing. This is what every kid dreams of who loves wrestling. So it's awesome to see that. Like, I don't know how you do that. I don't know how you're so calm and then just go with the flow. I don't know how. Because I would be like freaking out every time. In a good way. I'd be like a fan kid. So anyway, I still can't wrap my head around how you're so calm. And then bring us to Liv Morgan, our SmackDown Women's Champion, was on Say That the Bell. That's standing up for herself, what I was talking about. Making everybody know she is SmackDown Women's Champion. And she's not planning on losing anytime soon on Say That the Bell. And you're going to recognize her and you're going to respect it. And that she's more than just a pretty face out there. She has the heart, she has the skill, she has the talent. Everybody's here for a purpose. Everybody's here for a reason. They have their own unique ways, even if you like them, you hate them, you love them, you don't. and they're all here for like the Miz I was talking about. A lot of people don't like Miz on wrestling, but former two-time Mr. Money in the Bank, Intercontinental Champion. He's won the WWE Champion. He's beaten people like John Cena, one of the greatest around here, and still runs his own Miz TV show, and still does acting, and still dominates in the ring. I mean, you got to give the props to the Miz, whether you like him or not. And Theory, a lot of people don't like him in the ring. Youngest United States champion in WWE history. But Randy Orton is the youngest WWE champion in history as well. And then he's like, well, guess what? Now Theory's the youngest Mr. Money in the Bank in history. But Randy Orton, successfully cashed his Money in the Bank in, became WWE champion. And why I always compare him to Randy Orton is because he always brags about how he's the youngest, this in WWE history. So I'm like, you may be the youngest United States champion in WWE history, but Randy Orton is the youngest WWE champion in WWE history as a second generation Hall of Famer legendary. And he successfully cashed in his Money in the Bank to become WWE champion, which you haven't been able to cash it in at all since you got it. Like I said, you got all these guys on your backs, but when you run your mouth a little too much, I mean, Randy Orton was able to back it up. Why I compare him to Randy Orton, because that's who he reminds me of a little bit when he says that youngest champion stuff. And then when I seen Dolph Ziggler on the bump, then he kind of reminded me of Dolph Ziggler. Like, oh yeah, that's who, because I couldn't wrap my head around it. I had three little theories. I was like, either John Cena, Randy Orton, and I was couldn't wrap my, or it was two theories. I thought he was gonna be like the next John Cena, because I looked at the body, looked at the muscle, looked at the strength, and I was like, well, his attitude isn't like John Cena. And then I thought Randy Orton. I was like, well, Randy Orton's more of a manipulator or in mind games type of person. Randy Orton is like Seth Rollins. They're great athletes, but they're also good at manipulating. Seth Rollins, WWE champion, United States champion, Intercontinental champion, Mr. Money in the Bank, won the Royal Rumble. Randy Orton won the Royal Rumble. Mr. Money in the Bank, 14-time World Heavyweight Champion, second generation Hall of Famer, legendary. So that's what makes the visionary, burning it down architect like Seth Rollins and the Viper, Randy Orton, Apex Predator, which they're a lot like each other. They're great athletes, but good at manipulating and mind games. Whereas Theory, John Cena has a positive with the strength in the ring. There hasn't been really another John Cena. Because you got to match the attitude with the gratitude. So Theory kind of like reminds me of Dolph Ziggler. Handsome, strong, got the body, got the athletics, got the skills. Too much into himself though to have the right attitude though. You gotta have the attitude right, then there'll be no problems. So yeah, he reminds me of Dolph Ziggler. Second Dolph Ziggler. And then that one, covered the bump and all that stuff in my opinion. And the Av Carolina was talking about. And also, since we were talking about the Street Profits too, a few minutes ago, I wanted to mention that. Also, and since we were talking about Liv Morgan, SmackDown was champion, standing up for herself on Saved at the Bell, and talk about how Angelo Dawkins was also standing up for himself and his partner. Like a lot of people try to say, oh, he's just a bodyguard. He doesn't have the athleticism. He doesn't have the skills, and all this stuff about him. Like, he's here for a purpose too. He has the strength and the power, and Montez has the quickness and the speed. That's why they're former Raw Tag Team Champions. That's why they want the smoke whenever they come out there, and they're a dominating team together. To me, yeah, my personal favorite, I like the high flyer Montez, and I think he's funny. So, yeah, Montez is my favorite out of the team, being funny and seeing him fly out in the sky like a Rey Mysterio. But seeing the strength like Angelo Dawkins has, I mean, he can run through you like a ball and knock your ass over and dominate you and crush you, just like the animal Batista used to do. The people picked them up with a power bomb, spine busting them in the middle of the ring or wherever he wants to have it. So, calling him a bodyguard and stuff like that and trying to disrespect him, that's uncalled for and really unnecessary and highly unprofessional. So I'm glad that he's sticking up for himself and letting everybody know about that. I also seen Bianca Belair and Montez at a NASCAR race where a Hall of Famer legendaries Bella Twins, who I hear the Bella Twins Hall of Famers legendary in the NASCAR that I seen them there. I hear that they're gonna be doing besides Total Divas and Total Bellas that they already did, and having their husbands and their kids and their family, that they could be doing a show together and hosting a video game together. I heard. I wanted to put that out there since we're talking about Montez and I seen Bianca Belair and him at the NASCAR race that met the Bella twins that were there. I don't know if they met them in the past, but I know I seen them take a picture with them there. So that's the whole sticking up thing that I was talking about. And then that would bring us to Harmony. And then that would bring us to Friday Night SmackDown Wrestling. Now, this is still 2 weeks ago, Friday Night SmackDown Wrestling I'm talking about. So, we also have the Beast Brock Lesnar show the Beast Unleashed. And he dominated Otis and Chad. So in theory, you don't want the Beast Unleashed. And Paul Heyman, you should already know how Brock is. Dominated asker. He's a butcher. He's a hunter. He's a farmer. He's a UFC ass kicker. He's a former WWE champion. He's done courageous things that'll dominate anybody and anything, whether it's an opponent or he just feels like it. He is the Beast Unleashed. And you should know Paul Heyman better than anybody. That's a line that you don't want to cross. In theory, found that out real quick. Go ahead and step in that ring, see what he can do. He'll flip the table on you like he did that announcement team one time. Or he'll go through 100 security guards, whoop their ass just to get his hands on The Undertaker, like he did. Or like he did at SummerSlam, flipping the ring over with a damn tractor. That's how he's going as a Hall of Famer, legendary, retired from the WWE. See why I hear that was why that was his last match at SummerSlam. But let's talk about Friday Night SmackDown Wrestling before we get to SummerSlam. I just wanted to put that out there why he's so dominant the Beast Unleashed, because it was cool seeing him return on Monday Night Raw. And like, are you really surprised? Really? You obviously haven't been watching him for years, you know. So you quickly kind of find out who he is. But that'll bring us to then on Friday Night SmackDown Wrestling was talking about now. Drew McIntyre's beat Olive the week before. This time Drew McIntyre's beat Butch in a match and let Sheamus know, I'm coming for you one way or another. And almost Sheamus threw the stick and almost took the damn announcer's table's head off. And Lacey Evans once again didn't want any part of Aaliyah. Socked her on the face but didn't want to take a singles action with her, against her. Then Gonzalez just totally destroyed Seinfeld for being so disrespectful against Adam Pearce, who manages our Raw and SmackDown. That's what she gets. And then, Corbin sure went to laugh behind Pratt's back, but when Pratt was in there like a real man, Corbin had nothing to say. And when Corbin tried to attack Pratt chased Corbin's ass out of there and whooped his ass for trying to attack him on SmackDown. And I like seeing that in Pratt because I like Pratt. I think he brings the fun to the commentary. He's awesome. He's great. He's amazing. I like watching Pratt McAfee be our commentary on SmackDown, the Pratt McAfee show. And stays true to himself. He was in the NFL. He's a former football player, just like Corbin. And he can run you over still today. And he already signed papers to officially train and be not only a commentary, but a WWE superstar. He won that match against Theory at WrestleMania. Then he had Stone Cold Steve Austin to help him out and beat up Mr. McMahon. Then he whooped Theory's ass on SmackDown to start it. He's always on commentary. It's funny when he gets on the tail and dances for Shinsuke Nakamura. Then he goes out there and beats the hell out of Corbin for trying to attack him. And stays true to himself, like, you ain't gonna make fun of me and get away with it. And then, anyways, and stays true to who he wants to point out and doesn't matter saying it to their face. So, anyways, that's when Gunther comes in here, the kind of champion. Gets a slap across his protege's chest is a slap on the back as he won against Shinsuke, but still gave him a slap across the chest. And then we had the New Day out there, who the Viking Raiders didn't want any part of the New Day as they beat Shinsuke and Jinder Mahal in a tag team match, but they didn't want any part of the New Day though. And then you had the Usos and the Street Powers out there brawling and beating the hell out of each other, and our Hall of Famer, legendary former WWE champion, Extreme Jeff Jarrett is our Hall of Fame legendary of that match, trying to get them to be civilized, to at least talk the conversation without beating the hell out of each other and get it together. Then you had Brock Lesnar just destroy Theory for what he did to Matt Casmas, beating him on the back with a briefcase. Not for what he did to Matt Cas, but to me, I feel like he did that for Matt Cas just to show him I'm a beast on my leash. You gonna keep running your mouth about me and get away with it. You obviously don't know Brock too well. Maybe a cowboy and a farmer, but he's a butcher, a hunter, and an ass kicker, and he will beat your ass and dominate you as a former WWE champion, no matter what you say or what you do. And he will get his hands on you if that's what he wants to do. He broke Triple H's arm when he was the boss of him. He beat up 100 security guards just to get his hands on The Undertaker. He's a former WWE champion. A guy his size shouldn't be able to jump off the rope inside out with a backflip like he does. He flipped the announcement table on the announcers and tore the whole house down, just destroying everybody. Flipped what attracted the ring at SummerSlam. He's sent guys on stretchers. He is the beast on leash. And when that beast is on leash, you don't want to get in that way of him. That's a beast inversion. That's not man inversion. There's a reason for that. Just go back and look at what I'm talking about. Destroys guys like there's yesterday's garbage. Tosses the other bodies around with that strength, with that power, that domination. So anyways, so he dominated Theory. And then that pretty much cover for the next map that we're on. And that'll bring us over to Monday Night Raw, where the Tribal Chief in God's mode. Yeah, in God's mode. That's how he would say. I'm in God's mode. Keep the needle moving. Bloodline. Generations from generations of his family been in the WWE since it's existed. Longest reigning Universal Champion in WWE history. He is the big dog, the Tribal Chief, the undisputed longest reigning Universal Champion in WWE history. His family's been in here as long as WWE has been created. Wrestling in general, before it was even called WWE. When it was called like WFC and WF or ECW and all that stuff. Wrestling in here. And outside of like I was saying, here's what you got your wife, you got your kids, loving your man. Then he gets in that ring and dominates you. Just destroys you. He's won the Royal Rumble, United States Champion, Intercontinental Champion, WWE Champion, our longest reigning Universal Champion. That's right, the one and only Roman range. Really brings the A to his A game. When he gets in that ring with you, he's the wrong one to stand across the ring with, as well as Brock, like I was talking about. Now Brock, how somehow he, did all this, Now let's talk about Roman when he chased Triple H out of there, smacked him with a trash can and TV, chased him in the whole arena. He speared Triple H to the announcer table, went through 100 security guards, spilling backstage for getting in their way, threw dog food all over Corbin, who couldn't get him down, and in the handcuffs. He was in handcuffs and he still couldn't get him down. And this guy jumped over, a guy his size shouldn't have been able to jump over the apron like that and take out the whole backstage arena that was back there just because he went to get his hands on a specific person. And he flipped that announcement table over and broke the ribs of Robert Roode, and he's just been down. Guy his size shouldn't be able to move as quick as he does either, but they do. That's what puts Brock and Roman in the same category. They're big muscle guys, but they're also quick and athletic as well. Now, usually you have like John Cena, Triple H, and Batista, for example. They're muscle, they're strong, and they will dominate you by strength. John Cena, Batista, and Triple H for them. Okay? They'll dominate you with strength. Just by looking at them, you know they're strong, let alone be in their grip. Then you got Randy Orton and Seth Rollins and Rey Mysterio. They'll dominate you with high fly or quickness. Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar are quick and strong. And then you got Mark Henry and the Big Show. They just look at you and scare you. Big Show and Mark Henry took on each other that match, and total hell, that whole ring fell apart. Poor referee rolling around like a bowling pin out there. But Mark Henry and Big Show broke that whole ring where they had to use extra strength to hold them big guys up. Guys like them and the Great Khali. Umaga's a little bit shorter than them, but I would say would be in the heavyweight with them along with Visa. I would say so. So that's what you got in your categories and stuff. When you're talking about wrestlers and where they fit at and where they're at and why that makes sense, why that shouldn't have happened, but it does. And it's like, well, what do you do now? They're quick and they're strong. That's just not fair. That's why they're dominant, like I was talking about. That's why they're so successful, like I was talking about. Anyways, so I'll cover Friday Night SmackDown Wrestling with my Nut Raw. I was talking about Roman Reigns, him and the Usos dominate there. Now, Theory's out there for a whole hour of the show. Started out with him and Drew McIntyre's, and then it got crazy. So Drew McIntyre is supposed to beat Theory in a match, and Theory tried to take it wasn't even Theory taking the easy way out. It was other people getting involved. Whereas Drew McIntyre's versus Theory in singles action, and then here comes Sheamus and Butch and Olive from SmackDown. So Bobby goes out there and evens it up. Then it becomes a tag team. And then you got these two, like I said, Butch and Olive, who's not even in the match. After they got civilized, attack in, get sent out of the arena. So it's like, okay, well, they was able to get rid of Drew McIntyre's, was able to go right through Butch, who had no business out there, and Olive, who he's already beaten, thrown out of the arena and get out of there. So him and Bobby can focus on being a tag team like they used to, beat Theory and Sheamus and a tag team match in fair and square. And then here comes the Usos and Roman Reigns dominated him. Keep the Tribal Chief's name out your mouth. And for what he did to Jey Uso when he smacked with that briefcase. But I mean, he smacked me in the back of the neck. I mean, of course I'm going to defend myself. But he had no business mentioning Roman behind his back because you couldn't do it to his face. As you saw what happened, the results. Then that brings us to celebrating the 20 years for Hall of Famer legendary Rey Mysterio. Fear the Mask. Now you had him and Dominic team up. They won their tag team match to celebrate the 20 years of Rey Mysterio in honor of the late Eddie Guerrero, and picked up the victory of the Judgment Day. But the Judgment Day and the return of Rhea Ripley attacks them backstage like a couple of sore losers because they can't take an L and couldn't get the job done. Ridiculous, and they shouldn't even allow that. Rey Mysterio earned his way to celebrate his 20 years and dedicate to his late Eddie Guerrero and his son Dominic to win that matchup, and then they had no business attacking them. And then Rhea Ripley, like, returning what? Put your hands on somebody who's not even in the WWE, who's not even in wrestling, just there supporting her family, and you're gonna shove her in the face, put your hands on her. How dare you disrespect her when she's not even a superstar? And it's between them two, they just can't take you now. You're the one that set it up. He's earned his way to be out there and go for the 20 years and celebrate himself. So how dare the monkey asses go out there and disrespect him like a couple of sore losers? That was highly disrespectful and unnecessary content, and they deserve to get their ass handed to them if it's the last chance the Mysterios do. And then that's where SummerSlam comes. Get a tag team match with the Mysterios and Judgment Day at SummerSlam. Now this particular situation, so everything was off at that moment, just from that. Then you would have the Street Profits and the Usos was out there when Jeff Jarrett tried to get them civilized, at least for each other, so they wouldn't get their hands on each other. Not quite yet. So then it was, after that whole situation, anyways, like I was talking about, on Monday Night Raw, the Usos and Street Profits didn't get their hands on each other because Jeff Jarrett, letting them civilize and like save it for SummerSlam. That's what the SummerSlam match is for, to put all your emotions and everything on the line then for the Raw Tag Team Championship belts. So that's what he wants you to save it for. And then that's where you bring Seth Rollins beating Zeke in a match who needs to mind his own business and burns it down on Matt Riddle to earn his way to verse Matt Riddle at SummerSlam. Well, this was the last time that he did that to Matt Riddle, so, stomping him, and Matt Riddle got injured, and injured shoulder wasn't supposed to be versing Seth Rollins at SummerSlam, as we were informed. And then that will bring us to Logan Paul getting his revenge on The Miz for what happened at WrestleMania. But then The Miz and Tommaso, once again, Tommaso and The Miz teaming up, attacking Logan Paul from behind on The Miz TV show because he couldn't take the heat. And so that would pretty much cover Monday Night Raw wrestling, in my opinion, and thoughts on that situation before SummerSlam. Rollins champion Bianca Belair and Becky Lynch got each other's face and got hands on each other. Rollins champion Bianca Belair and Becky Lynch, big time Bex, just tore the house down and threw each other all over that arena, and it was just feisty and firehead and let their emotions go unleash, just dominating each other for their SummerSlam Rollins Championship opportunity. And then that would bring you to, well, that would bring like the rest of Monday Night Raw wrestling. And then we have the bump afterwards. And then we have another bump for SummerSlam and the kickoff. So I'm going to show you that 20 years Rey Mysterio video first, like I was talking about. Let's see here. Rey Mysterio is the biggest little man in WWE history. Entered number 2 and won the Royal Rumble. And back then it was 40 guys, not 30. Then he became World Heavyweight Champion, WWE Champion, Intercontinental Champion, United States Champion. He's a Hall of Famer. He's a legendary. He's the biggest little man in WWE history. And everybody needs to fear the mask. Rey Mysterio, getting the job done at all times, no matter who his opponents gets. He'll sell them straight to their face. I ain't backing down, no matter how big or how strong you think you are. But I'm gonna knock your ass down. That's the last thing I do. And he did. Up against guys like Batista and John Cena and all these incredible things, and so dominant and so destructive, and people did not see that coming. Beating against guys like the Big Show and Mark Henry. So this is that 20 years of Rey Mysterio, as that was the rest of Monday Night Raw wrestling. This is the Rey Mysterio. So that is the Rey Mysterio video that I was talking about. Of that's in the way to, the biggest slow man in WWE history, Fear the Mask. One of my favorite superstars besides John Cena and Randy Orton and Rey Mysterio is they're my top three favorite WWE superstars that I'm always talking about. You got John Cena, hustle, loyalty, respect, never give up, 16-time WWE champion. And you got Hall of Famer, legendary 14-time second generation world heavyweight champion, Apex Predator Randy Orton. You got Rey Mysterio, Hall of Famer, legendary, the biggest little man in WWE history, Fear the Mask, Rey Mysterio. Those are my top three that I'm always talking about, favorite WWE superstars in the WWE history that I grew up watching. And now I grew up getting to celebrate. And go in there and do it just like they did. Quickness, speed, manipulation, mind games, athletic, whatever it takes. Get the job done. So that's what I'm talking about. That sort of thing. So we're going to talk about Friday Night SmackDown Wrestling, and then I'm going to show you my SummerSlam predictions, and then get into SummerSlam. And we're going to talk about the bump, like I was talking about with the bump. So this bump it was the one for SummerSlam. Like this one had Dolph Ziggler on the bump. Basically, Dolph Ziggler was saying that he wanted to teach Theory a lesson, is why he kept targeting him on the bump, is what we heard him say. And then we had, so I pretty much covered that topics on the bump, and then celebrate that. So, and then I seen on like Say That the Bell and Out of Character and all that, like I was talking about with Gunther and Liv Morgan. But that one, Dolph Ziggler was on that bump. Basically wanted to teach Theory a lesson, is why he keeps attacking him. And then Friday Night SmackDown Wrestling would have come. And then this was the week before, well, weekend before SummerSlam. Before SummerSlam. So, and then you had on there, it was the Usos and the Street Profits keep talking about it. This time, the Usos and the Street Profits got their hands on each other. You know, the Usos, Raw and SmackDown, Tag Team Champions, the Ones, dominating the Street Profits just like the Street Profits, who want the smoke, former Raw Tag Team Champions, got their hands on the Usos so bad that it turned out to a brawl fight on SmackDown and dominating each other and beating the hell out of each other and just letting their emotions get the best of them until their special guest referee Jeff Jarrett got kicked in the face, who wasn't happy about that and kind of shoved the Usos off like, look what you did, I'm not happy and I'm not proud of this. So that made me think that Jeff Jarrett would screw them at SummerSlam now. And that's when Corbin took the easy way out and cheap shot at Pratt McAfee from behind when Pratt McAfee got tired of him sitting in there and antagonizing him through the whole night and put him in his place. And Corbin decided when the referees and officials out to take a cheap shot from behind with a low blow on Pratt McAfee for their SummerSlam match. And then Liv Morgan is not afraid to back down from Ronda Rousey. Ronda Rousey and Liv Morgan worked together to win their tag team match against, I believe it was Natalia and Sonya Deville. But she's not afraid to get in her face and tell her, I'm not afraid of you, and I'm going to dominate you one way or another and show you why I am the SmackDown Women's Champion, why it wasn't a fluke. And then Ronda Rousey dominated Shanti, who it was her that versed Aaliyah because Lacey Evans didn't even come out. So it was Shanti that got beat up by Ronda Rousey. Her arm almost torn off her body for opening up her mouth for winning over Aaliyah, but the baddest bitch on the planet, Ronda Rousey, wasn't having it. Sticking up for Aaliyah's lost, I guess. And then it was the Viking Raiders who put an attack on the New Day and try to send them on the injury list. And now we're still trying to get updates about the New Day now that the Viking Raiders did what they did, attacking them on SmackDown. Are they going to be on SmackDown or are they going to be out and injured for a while after that attack on them last weekend? Well, this past weekend. Because it was Friday, so still part of the weekend. So as we're looking into that, then it was, well, they talked about into that, so that pretty much was Friday Night SmackDown. Then it was Drew McIntyre's winning his no disqualification match against Sheamus, earning his Universal Championship opportunity at Clash of Castle against, at that time, Brock Lesnar or Roman Reigns, or perhaps Theory, for the Universal Championship opportunity at Clash of Castle after SummerSlam, the next pay-per-view. At that time, that's what we were saying. That's what we were talking about. What I was saying, what I was talking about. And then he also beat Butch, who was out there and threw Butch to a table, and Olive didn't even come out there. He already knew to stay away. He had his senses a little bit and already knew that, and then that's when the beast Brock Lesnar totally destroyed Theory, throwing him away around there, suplex after suplex and F5 and M and hitting him with the briefcase. Just showing him the beast unleashed and how dominated of an ass whooper he is and why Theory needs to keep his mouth a little shut. And that's when Drew McIntyre came out there and kicked him in the face for sticking his nose in his business after he won his match, attacking him as well. As he also is in the conclusion now because he gets the Universal Championship opportunity at Clash of Castle. In theory, had no business to attack him, so he kicked him in the face for it. And Brock just destroyed him just because he can, and because he's been opening up his mouth about him and want to keep it shut. So it's one of those guys that no matter how many times you beat him up or hit him, he's still going to talk. So I will give that to Theory. He will run his mouth to you if that's what he's thinking. He will say what he got to say to your face, no matter how many times he gets beat up or even if he gets destroyed. He will tell you like it is what's on his mind. So you got to give that to him. You got to give that to him for sure. Anyway, so that would be Friday Night SmackDown wrestling. We had. I'm not really interested in it because it's not a wrestling match, but I'm gonna say it anyhow because it was on there. You had the modeling, and now instead of the two men, we had the merchandise for the male modeling that are ugly on SmackDown anyhow. They got a woman now for the modeling on SmackDown and all that stuff. Um, so that was Friday Night SmackDown wrestling and all that. I mean, about modeling and all that. I mean, it's wrestling. Like we're talking about domination in wrestling, and you're over here sitting talking about models. I mean, if they're gonna be a male model, at least pick a hot one, not someone you know looks like that. So, anyways, that would bring us to that situation. And now here are my SummerSlam predictions before we talk about that. Here's that. I was talking about. Let's see. This is my SummerSlam prediction. So, you guys, it's Queen Krazy K. You already. So, if you guys, it's Queen Krazy K. You already know. Hit that subscribe button. It's totally free. And can you support my channel? Follow me on Instagram and all that other good stuff. Just gonna do a quick video here and do my SummerSlam predictions real quick. Just to let you know my opinions as SummerSlam is about 2 hours. Yeah, about 2 hours away. So I'm gonna do my predictions right here, right now. Let you guys know my thoughts. I think that the EST, the quickest, the strongest, the fastest, the roughest, the strongest, the Raw Women's Champion Bianca Belair is going to walk in and out Raw Women's Champion against Becky Lynch at SummerSlam this year to make up for what happened last year at that SummerSlam once and for all to be comfortable with calling herself the Raw Women's Champion. Brad McAfee is going to get his revenge and make him sad Corbin for what he did at SmackDown to him, attacking him with the low blow from behind. And Logan Paul is going to get his revenge on The Miz, show that he can do his YouTube channel a lot better than The Miz can do The Miz TV show on Raw, and get Tomas if he gets involved. I think that Jeff Jarrett, based on what happened on SmackDown, is going to help the Street Powers become the Raw Tag Team Champions. That'll make up because they never did lose at Money in the Bank. But then the Street Powers will be Raw Tag Team Champions, but the Usos can still be the greatest tag team champions in WWE history and be SmackDown Tag Team Champions for a whole year now. So to me, it's a win-win because I like both teams and I support both of them. And it's been going on since the Money in the Bank on both Raw and SmackDown for both teams. So to me, it'd be a win-win situation. And then that'll leave our Liv Morgan SmackDown Women's Champion. I think she can walk in and out SmackDown Women's Champion against Ronda Rousey to prove to her that it wasn't a fluke, to prove all the doubters wrong at SummerSlam once and for all. And then you would have Bobby Lashley, the almighty Bobby Lashley, three-time United States champion against Theory, which Theory's kind of acting like he really doesn't care about the United States Championship right now. So the almighty Bobby Lashley definitely going to remain the United States champion, and then he's focusing on that main event everybody's been talking about. I don't know if it's the main event or not, but everybody, obviously, it's a big match. Besides the matches that I already mentioned. First, before I get into that, though, Theory, looking forward to doing that. Getting involved in the last man standing match, last chapter, everything on the line. I think that Brock Lesnar's going to retire out of the WWE, making Theory a former Mr. Money in the Bank and the longest reigning Universal Champion in WWE history. The Tribal Chief, Roman Reigns, to take on Drew McIntyre at Clash of Castle for his Universal Championship opportunity. And that's when Roman, I heard that he might be going to movies after that, which will allow Drew McIntyre, well better than him, to beat Roman Reigns to become next Universal Champion. And then, leave on good terms and a good career for Roman, just like Brock Lesnar. So, and then that one is it was supposed to be Matt Riddle versus Seth Rollins, but since Matt Riddle got injured and cannot compete, I think the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes maybe be okay to return to get his revenge on Seth Rollins at SummerSlam for what he did his shortest since Matt Riddle won't be able to verse, and then Maybe Matt Riddle and Seth Rollins at Clash of Castle after that in a singles action. So I think that situation will happen, maybe. Possibility, we'll find out. And then that'll leave the Mysterios, Hall of Famer legendary, past 20 years celebrating. I got my 20 years celebrating Rey Mysterio video out on YouTube right now. My Raw predictions out on YouTube right now. This is my SummerSlam prediction that I'm about to post on YouTube. I'm going to do a podcast. That'll be an hour and a half that will cover this last few weeks, including SummerSlam, later on tonight after SummerSlam. So be sure to be on the lookout for that. And tune in and watch it. Subscribe to my channel, support it, follow me on Instagram, and be sure to watch it and check it out. It's going to be awesome. It's going to cover everything you need to know, in my opinions and my thoughts, and all that good stuff. And then, anyways, with the Mysterio, like I was talking about, him and Dominic getting their revenge on the Judgment Day and the tag team action for what they did was uncalled for on Monday Night Raw. And they're going to show why he's off and why he's the biggest little man in WWE. And his son Dominic's going to make sure they crush Judgment Day in the tag team match once and for all, even if Rhea Ripley, who's returning, gets involved again. I think that that's when Rey Mysterio's daughter needs to be out there to get revenge on Rhea Ripley for putting her hands on her. Celebrate with his family and the WWE like he should have got to do on Monday Night Raw. And that is my predictions for SummerSlam night now. You can watch right now on YouTube, see my this past Monday Night Raw prediction video. You can see my 20 years celebrating Rey Mysterio video. You can see this video right here, SummerSlam prediction video. And after SummerSlam tonight, you will see an hour and a half, at least an hour and a half. If it lasts longer, that's fine. Usually I do a podcast that lasts a half an hour, what happened throughout the week. But since it's been 3 weeks, I'm going to just put everything all into one video. So it'll be at least an hour and a half, if not longer. So check out my 20 years Rey Mysterio video. Check out my Raw prediction video. Check out this SummerSlam prediction video. Subscribe to my channel. Follow me on Instagram to get the updates and support my channel. Because I see a lot of you are watching but not subscribing. So go ahead and support the channel as well. I really love it and appreciate it. So after SummerSlam, the night beware, I'll be making a podcast that's going to cover these last few weeks, including SummerSlam, which I'll also have a SummerSlam result video for you guys to watch, and then the podcast will be right after that. So when SummerSlam is over, there will be a SummerSlam result video right after it, and my podcast coming right. So Queen Krazy K is out, and then I'll see you guys tonight at SummerSlam. Queen Krazy K out. Make sure you subscribe and follow. So that's the video that I was talking about. My Raw prediction videos, what it looks like, what I predict for my Night Raw, Friday Night SmackDown before it happens, my prediction for SummerSlam, what it looks like, my prediction for pay-per-views, and why instead of watching you should subscribe to the channel, follow on Instagram to get all the updates and what's going on to support the channel like I was talking about. And my opinions and thoughts these last few weeks up into this podcast that I was talking about. Now it was going to be released, like I said, on the weekend, but after SummerSlam and Friday Night SmackDown wrestling, and just got worn out a little bit, and even after getting worn out, still busy. Just came from work and came home and took a shower, trying to eat something because I haven't eaten nothing all day. A can of potato soup. And then after that, then here I am listening to music and doing my podcast, like I said. And here in less than an hour, got my Night Raw wrestling. So anyway, that's what I was talking about. That was my discussion. So now that those are my predictions for SummerSlam, these are actual results, what happened at SummerSlam, and then I'll show you my result video as well. And then that should wrap up the podcast. So first, we're talking about the quickest, the roughest, the strongest, the fastest, the EST at WWE, our Raw Women's Champion remains Bianca Belair, so dominating as they come. The one that I always talk about, one of my favorite female superstars that I'm always talking about, won the Elimination Chamber, won the Royal Rumble, won the Raw Women's Champion against a Hall of Famer, a legendary. Well, she's not a Hall of Famer yet, but she is a GOAT, and she is one of the horsewomen. Becky Lynch beat Sasha Banks, another GOAT and part of the horsewomen who built NXT for women like Bianca Belair to call herself NXT champion and come over to WWE for WrestleMania in Harlem become the SmackDown Women's Champion, and then at WrestleMania she beat Becky Lynch for the Raw Women's Champions belt, big time Bex and 2 Nasty and all that, Like we got the blueprint, the standard, the conversation, the legit boss, 6-time women's champion, Raw Women's Champion, SmackDown Women's Champion, a Grand Slam champion. She won. She was in the first ever, almost all the matches, Royal Rumble, Hell in a Cell, and won the first ever Tag Team Women's Champion. She's a 3-time Tag Team Women's Champion. Sasha Banks is the GOAT around there, and for Bianca Belair going to her hometown, win the SmackDown Women's Champion, her first WrestleMania against the GOAT like Sasha Banks, and then turn around next year and the WrestleMania win against Becky Lynch, 2-belt Banks, Raw Women's Champion, SmackDown Women's Champion, NXT Women's Champion, one that goes to Irish Lash kicker around there for the Raw Women's Champion at WrestleMania. But then her first ever Elimination Chamber to earn her way there, won her Royal Rumble to earn her way there, and now she gets to celebrate with her family and her friends right in her hometown, win the Raw Women's Champion against Becky Lynch at SummerSlam to make up for what happened last year at SummerSlam, be comfortable with that. I saw her in a WWE exclusive overcome that and get Becky Lynch respect that the match was over against the returning of Bayley and Shirai, who is now, I like Genius Sky Shirai and Grand Slam champion Bayley. Bayley returning home, Shirai coming from the NXT over to Raw. Dakota, I don't really like her so much. I mean, the last time I seen Dakota, guys, I know that she was let go. She was fired from NXT, and that she got shoved in a locker by Gonzalez and slammed through a stage in a match from Gonzalez, and then she was let go from the NXT. That's the last time I seen Dakota Kai. So her, I'm like, but I do like the Grand Slam champion Bayley and the Irish Lash kicker Becky Lynch, who know each other very well, part of the Horsewomen, to dominate each other, as well as Bianca Belair, who's beaten both of them. Bayley for the SmackDown Women's Champion at Hell in a Cell, Becky for the Raw Women's Champion at SummerSlam, and earned her respect that the match was over and team up with her against Bayley, who they know, and then Io Shirai, who I've seen Bianca Belair go against before. I'm not too sure about Becky. So that'll be a great tag team match, like as a Raw Champion. Bianca Belair got that done. I love to see Becky Lynch and Bianca Belair team up and go against Bayley and Shirai in a 2-on-2 tag team match at Clash of Castle, our next pay-per-view coming up. And then it'll be that situation. And I'm surprised that Jeff Jarrett, Hall of Fame legend, he did call it straight down the middle. Longest reigning Raw and SmackDown tag. Well, I don't know about the longest, but to me, they're the greatest Raw and SmackDown tag team champions for a whole year, almost a whole year now. The Usos remain against the Street Profits fair and square, the main Raw and SmackDown tag team champions. The greatest tag team champions in WWE history, one or the other or both, and almost a whole year since they've been tag team champions. They are the ones who got the smoke that night. And then our tribal chief, the longest reigning Universal Champion in WWE history, Roman Reigns, over Brock Lesnar in a last man standing match so he can take on Drew McIntyre for the Universal Championship belt at Clash of Castle. Now, I think that if Drew beats Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship belt, what better than the Drew to earn to beat Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship belt at Clash of Castle? And then I think that Dolph Ziggler is going to get involved and make Theory the former Mr. Money in the Bank by kicking him in the face as soon as he tries to cash it in with that whole situation at Clash of Castle. And then Matt Riddle, He did show with that injured shoulder and brawled with Seth Rollins, who got the last laugh. So I see Matt Riddle and Seth Rollins in a fair singles action at Clash of Castle. And then Pat McAfee got the best of Corbin, just like Corbin did to him on SmackDown. Logan Paul got showed that he can do his YouTube channel a lot better than the Miz TV. Beat him, that training paid off. Beat him in a matchup. Shut his big mouth. I seen AJ Styles out there brawling with Tamaska too. He'll try to get involved, like I said, was gonna happen. So, I mean, Logan Paul and AJ Styles could team up against the Miz and Tamaska in a tag team action. Maybe Logan Paul and AJ Styles versus Tamaska and the Miz in a tag team match in a Clash of Castle. Yeah. And then Seth Rollins versus Matt Riddle in a singles match in a Clash of Castle. Yeah. And then Becky and Bianca Belair teaming up against Bayley and Shirai in a tag team match. Theory getting screwed over Dolph Ziggler and having Drew or Roman Reigns be the Universal Champion, which I would be satisfied with because I heard that Roman Reigns is going to be going over to the movie side, which makes me say if he loses, what better than the Drew to do that? Because he's not really taking anything, and he's the longest reigning champion in W history. So, I mean, and he's already done it all. So, you're not taking nothing from him. You just, what better than Drew to earn it, though? Because he's the one that deserves to uncrown him and be that. And carry the Universal Championship on SmackDown. So, that's my opinion in that situation. Then Hall of Famer legendary Rey Mysterio and Dominic gets their revenge for what the Judgment Day did to them on Raw, and the Rated R Superstar Edge returning. And now, to me, it's even. The Mysterios versus the Judgment Day is even. So yeah, that. See, Roman Reigns Universal Champion with Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar taught Theory you're not cashing in the Money in the Bank tonight with F5. Usos Raw Tag Team Champions with Jeff Jarrett celebrating them against the Street Profits. Pat McAfee being Corbin. Logan Paul over the Miz. And then our SmackDown champion Liv Morgan. Now, it wasn't her fault that the referee did what they did. So Ronda Rousey had every right to take it on the referee when she should be SmackDown Women's Champion. And the Mysterios over the Judgment Day because Liv Morgan could do it. That was the referee's fault. And then the almighty Bobby Lashley, United States Champion over Theory. Well, of course, like I said, I mean, there's nothing I can say about that. Is that he just dominated him like he did to become the United States Champion at Money in the Bank. He just dominated him to remain United States Champion at SummerSlam. So that was my opinions, like based on my SummerSlam predictions. My SummerSlam results was right on the nail, and I'm very comfortable with it. What happened in this past Raw and SmackDown to be satisfied at the end of the day, and that the game Triple H is really turning it around and doing the right thing and making this Raw and SmackDown a great company like wrestling once was great. And those were kind of what my prediction videos and stuff looked like before Raw and stuff like I was talking about. I did a couple of them. I don't always do them, but when I do them, that's what they look like. And then that would bring me, like I was saying, my predictions for the few weeks of Raw and SmackDown covered, the bump, out of character, updates after Raw and SmackDown, all that good stuff. SummerSlam predictions, SummerSlam results. My 20-year video of Rey Mysterio since he's been in the WWE. My little Saturday Live little updates. And all that good stuff. And based on that, on my opinions and thoughts after SummerSlam, then that would bring my predictions to Clash of Castle, our next pay-per-view. I want Dolph Ziggler kick Theory square in the face, making former Mr. Money in the Bank, and allow Roman or Drew to walk out Universal Champion. And I would love to see the Mysterios, all three of the Mysterios, like Rey Mysterio and Dominic and Edge, go against Finn Balor and Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley in a 3-on-3 six-man tag team match. And then Logan Paul and AJ Styles team up against The Miz and Tommaso and the Fairs tag team action. Why not? And then Rollins, Bianca Belair, and Becky team up against Io Shirai and Becky. And if Dakota gets involved, it probably won't be pretty for her. So those are my predictions for Clash of Castle since we had more time. So those are the last few weeks of Raw and SmackDown results, in my opinions, and my predictions for Raw, what they look like when I make my prediction of the show, my predictions for SummerSlam, my results of SummerSlam, my predictions for Clash of Castle, and my podcast that I promised that I would make, and we hit the 1 hour and 30 minutes like I said we was going to do. And my 20 years celebrating Rey Mysterio, as you can see I'm wearing this shirt, and what I had to say on Added the Character, and after Raw and SmackDown went off air, and little Saturday Live main event and stuff. Like I seen a match in there and stuff that was going on. So, and then Matt Riddle and Seth Rollins in a singles action. So those are what I think should happen. My prediction matches for Clash of Castle until I actually know who's in the matches and what the matches are to make my opinion results. These are my prediction matches for Clash of Castle. And I will show my results of SummerSlam before I get off here. So as that is wrapped up in such a way, that's what I think. So this is my, before we get off here, so that is the videos that I was talking about. So, anyways, that's all the time we got for today. Now, this is your host, Queen Krazy K, is out. Thanks you guys for watching and joining me. Be sure not only to watch this podcast, but also subscribe and support my channel. Follow me on the Instagram for updates and all that good stuff. And as I say that, I will mention my Raw predictions real fast before I close out of here. I think that, well, based on what happened, next thing is Bianca Belair and Becky Lynch teaming up against Shirai and Bayley in a tag team action, either on Monday Night Raw, fighting back and forth. I think they're gonna brawl until Clash of Castle first, because that would be a really good match at the pay-per-view. So I think that Bianca Belair, a Raw champion Bianca Belair, and Big Time Bex, they're gonna team up, beat the hell out of Bayley and Shirai, brawl with them until they do get that tag team match in that Clash of Castle, and including Dakota Kai, because she'll probably get involved with that situation. And then that brings me to, I think that they should do Logan Paul and AJ Styles versus The Miz and Tommaso, if it keeps going on between them at Clash of Castle. And the Judgment Day versus the Mysterios in a 6-man tag team match. Hell, she wants to put her hands on people. You should do it. Outside of Raw, you should do it, or get somebody else to get on that team for Clash of Castle. So those are things that we can expect tonight on Monday Night Raw, getting a little crazy and out of hand, and perhaps the Usos and the Street Profits as well towards Clash of Castle. So anyways, Queen Krazy K is out. Be sure to not only watch this, but subscribe to my channel. Follow me on Instagram for updates and all that good stuff. And I would really appreciate it. And like you guys watching and subscribing to the channel, and follow me on that Instagram. And if you want to like and also comment, do all that, it's totally free as well. Just be positive. Queen Krazy K is out of here. Bye, guys.